I'm doing a 6-month reinvention challenge, but I want to show you the behind the scenes of how I'm using my systems to support it. Let's do it. All right, real talk here. How many times have you said to yourself, this is my year, only to feel stuck in the same damn spot 6 months later? Hi, me, all the damn time. This time we're doing it differently. I don't know what it was at the start of this year, but I started to see so many of these 6-month reinvention challenge on YouTube, and I had the itch and had the drive to do it. And I'm using Notion to help me make it happen. If you are new here, welcome. If you are not, welcome back to my channel. We're gonna be diving into today my 6-month reinvention challenge, which I'm calling my action era. I'm only 3 weeks into this challenge as of now. So what I wanna show you actually in this video is how I've been using Notion to support myself through this, and actually ChatGPT and how I use ChatGPT to help me plan out the challenge. I'm ridiculously excited for this challenge because I've done a lot of these challenges before, 75 hard, 30-day resets. I've done a lot of that kind of stuff, but I don't feel like a lot of those challenges are built for real life. I actually recorded content probably a couple years ago after doing 75 hard when I was just like, this is like hustle culture and exercise form, and I'm not about that. And yet I actually found myself even going back to 75 hard again when I felt like I needed a reset, when I felt like I needed to kind of reinvent myself and get back on track. But this feels like a way better way for me to go about doing that. Like this whole you miss a day and you have to start over, like suddenly you feel like a failure. I mean, shit, Andy Frizzell's app greets you with a your inner bitch won kind of thing when you fail 75 hard. And it's just like, Jesus, I shame myself enough. I don't need more of that shit. But I definitely feel like for me, as much as I am a perfectionist, I know in my rational brain that real transformation is not about perfection, it's about consistency. And even in this challenge so far, I've had really, really low days, but I've had massive high days to help me recover and bounce back, that make up for it. That's what this challenge is all about to me. Action. It's my action era. It's all about helping me create momentum over perfection. And I'm really gonna dive in this video with how I'm using ChatGPT to help me set myself up, how I use Notion to keep me on track and accountable in a way that's actually really motivating for me, how I integrated it with my current habits and current systems, and how it's helping me get my shit together and finally feel like I'm in control of my life again. So if you've thought about doing a challenge like this for yourself as well, go ahead and follow along, stick with me on this, because I'm gonna show you not only how I'm setting it up, how I had ChatGPT help me plan this out in a way that was sustainable for me and where I was starting, and also was gonna help me achieve my goals, and how I'm using my Notion systems to support me through this. I feel like a lot of people talk about like, I just use a note on my phone. That is not how I roll. I would forget. I would completely lose track of where I am. So I really want to make sure that this fit together, not only with my existing systems, but that I have new systems to really help support me in this. So come along with me, friend. Let's do this. All right. First things first, we got to take a look at the ChatGPT conversation, because best believe this whole thing started with a ChatGPT conversation. So I gave ChatGPT some context. I'm kind of had something I'd wanted to do for a while. I had some inspiration from the guy I've been dating. Now for context, I feel like I really need to say that a part of the reason why I decided to pull the trigger, which I actually started this the day after Valentine's Day, is the guy I'm dating was doing a similar personal challenge as well. And I felt really, really inspired. It felt like this was go time for me. And I used a lot of inspiration for how he set up his challenge to do mine. He'd kind of gamified it. He turned it into a point systems for himself to reward himself when he was engaging in certain habits. And I kind of loved that. And I wanted to do the same. So you'll see when I give that whole context paragraph at the beginning of this, a lot of the inspiration, a lot of things that I'm taking are the things that he was doing that I felt like were going to be perfect for me in driving me forward in my personal challenge. Same thing with this whole spread in Notion. He had this whole Excel spreadsheet, which I hate Excel, but he had this whole Excel spreadsheet, and it got me so excited to do something similar for myself in Notion. Like if I can bring the systems nerd together with the like personal transformation and personal challenge, win-win. So all of this right here is basically background on what I wanted to do and the inspiration I got from the guy that I was dating. I also gave it a lot about kind of my existing habits. So you'll see here, I say, I want to riff off of some of my existing habits, but I also want to take things to the next level. So I basically broke down for it. These are the things that I'm doing every morning. And I kind of broke down for them like the things that I want to increase. And so I said here how I'm kind of thinking I want to do this is I want to set like benchmarks for myself, if you will, of I'm going to work out X number of times over the next 180 days. I'm going to walk X number of steps. So that's the kind of thing I'm thinking for this. I also thought about the other goals that I wanted to incorporate for myself, the things that I've, wanted to move the needle on, but had just kind of been dragging my feet. And honestly, YouTube's been one of them. So I said, in here, I also want to incorporate a YouTube goal to help me get more consistent with YouTube because it's a high ROI platform for me. I also want to bring in perhaps some financial goals, though I'm not sure about that. And then I think I said in here, like, what I want to do for my workouts. And so I kind of thought about bringing together all of the different goals I have: workouts, YouTube, business, reading, so on and so forth. So then I ended it, basically what I want you to do is I want you to help me brainstorm some sustainable ways to go about doing this. What are some sustainable numbers I can try to hit for my workouts, for my step goals, so that I'm not setting myself up for failure, but that I'm also pushing myself out of my comfort zone. Same thing with reading and same thing with YouTube. So that's kind of the context where I want to do here. We're going to do a brainstorm, and then I'm going to build out the dashboard for myself inside of Notion. So I gave ChatGPT a ton of context for the inspiration for this, the kind of things that I wanted to avoid, but also the ways in which I wanted to push myself, the places that I'm starting. That's really where all of this came from. So it gave me some key considerations and a bunch of benchmark suggestions. And honestly, I didn't deviate too far from the benchmark suggestions that it gave me for my workouts and my steps. I think we upped the workouts a little bit, but the reading goals and the YouTube goals, actually the YouTube goals are pretty similar, but the reading goals we definitely upped quite a bit. So it broke down for me, and then I kind of went back and forth and gave it feedback. And one of the big ways I gave it feedback is I told it I wanted to gamify it, because that was one of the things that the guy I'm dating was doing, is he gave himself points for the various activities he was doing. And I kind of love that. I've never done a challenge like this where I've gamified it for myself as a form of motivation. So I really want to try that. And I also told it, hey, I've got these things coming up. These are the things I want to do with my YouTube goals. These are the things that I want to do with the reading goals. I even said with the steps goal, I'm a bit intimidated by it, but I feel like that's the point. It's doable, but it's more than I've been consistently doing. And I think that's the point. So it's like that, I feel like, is the thing to aim for. Is you look at the number, you look at the goal you're aiming for, and you're like, oh, I'm a little bit intimidated by that. That's the point, right? It doesn't seem not doable. Like essentially mine breaks down to be 8,300 steps per day. That's not doable. It's just out of my comfort zone because it's beyond what I've been doing recently. And it actually gave me a bunch of ideas for things that I'd never thought of, like giving myself bonuses for streaks. And because I told it over and over again, I'm trying to reward myself for consistency. That's the point of this. So it came up with a bunch of ideas for like, here's how we should give points for workouts, and here's how we could give points for streaks. And it was really, really fun to kind of have ChatGPT come up with some of these ideas for me. In the Notion layout, I'm going to show you the actual breakdown for all of the points. So if you want to steal it, you absolutely can. There was a lot of me going back and forth and refining things with ChatGPT. ChatGPT also helped me think about how I'm going to set this up with my system. You can see I'm getting very excited about it because I said this is so kick-ass. I can't wait to put this together. And it summarized the whole thing, and then I pulled a lot of this information in as I actually started building out my Notion system. So with that, let's go ahead and dive into that now. All right, heading on over to Notion. Yes, I usually am a Notion dark mode person, but let's be honest, light mode looks better when we are screen sharing. So we set up this entire layout here based off of the ChatGPT conversation. I'm going to kind of break down for you the benchmarks. So the benchmarks and the goals are 120 workouts over the course of 6 months, which honestly is not that many. If you were somebody who is working out like 5, 6, 7 times a week, I'm really not. I'm coming from somebody who has been really struggling with consistently working out. So this is on average 3 to 4 times a week. And then I'm rewarding myself when I work out for 5 times a week. My goal is 1.5 to 6 million steps, or 1.5 to 1.6 million steps, 12 to 15 books, and 15 to 18 YouTube videos. So I'm rewarding myself, for posting on YouTube, because that is also something I've been trying to be more consistent with. And then I have this tracker on the top that tells me my progress. So how many days I have remaining in the challenge, my progress toward my total number of goal points, my progress towards my step goals. So for each of these benchmarks and goals I have up here, I'm tracking my progress toward that in this top bar. And then love me some visual charts in here as well. So currently I'm 22 days into this challenge as I am kind of recording this video for you. I've gotten 845 points. I have walked, and this is a fun number to see tick up, I have to say. This has probably been my favorite part about doing this, is being like, damn, I've really walked that many steps so far. I've almost walked 170,000 steps since I've started. I've read 526 pages. I've completed one book, and I'm really close to completing my second book. I posted twice on YouTube when I started, but this is the big tracker that I really check in with day to day. So every single day, I have it automated that every single day it creates a new day page automatically, so I don't have to do anything. And you will see I have been a slacker when it comes to the workout part of things, but I've been doing really, really good when it comes to the steps part of things. So what I'm logging here every day is so this is day 22. It automatically pulls in the date. When I pick a workout type, so cardio workout, strength training workout, a weighted vest walk, or a hike, I just designate which type of workout it is, and it automatically adds in the points into my overall points. When I do the number of steps, so let's see where I'm at for today. I'm not very high so far today, but like, considering I've been sitting on my butt doing stuff, it's not terrible. It could be worse. I'm only at 2488 today, but I've had a good last couple of days. Once we hit the threshold for this, like basically the walking points, it only gives me my points for walking once I've exceeded 8,300 steps. So hence nothing changing here yet. I get a point for every minute I stretch, up to 15 points. Like if I did a 60-minute yoga workout, personally for where I'm at, I don't reward myself for 60 points for that. I only give myself max 15 points for that. Pages read, this has to exceed 25. So you can see sometimes I'm like literally just getting to the 25 and then I stop reading. But once I read 25 points, then this will give me points as well. So the 20 points I have for today is from 10 minutes of stretching and 25 pages read. When I do a YouTube video, you can see that adds 50 points to my tracker. I really, really am trying to prioritize YouTube. That's kind of the gist of it. And so I'll kind of check in these over the course of the day. It'll add up all of my total points. And then if I gave myself bonus points, so I'm giving myself bonus points when I go above and beyond, I keep notes over here of what the bonus points are for. So like 50 bonus points here was for reading 25 plus pages for 15 or more days in a month. I get extra. If I get an extra 2,000 steps above my goal for the day, I give myself an extra 5 points. So here I realized I needed to kind of reward myself for hiking, but I didn't have that built into the system. So I just gave myself 30 points for snowshoeing that day and an extra 5 points for going 2,000 above my goal. If I read a book in 2 weeks or less, I get a bonus 50 points, so on and so forth. So I'm tracking this is happening, and I'm going to kind of show you a part of how I set this up to make the tracking of it easy. So I'm not like working retroactively, but then I've got like periodically, maybe once a week or like every couple weeks, I'll go through. These are all of just like my regular points, but I'll go through and I'll add in, did I hit any streaks? Yes or no? So like I've never hit this streak because I've been sucking at my workouts, but I have a game plan for how to fix that. My weekly streaks of this said 30 minutes of reading. I've changed this to 25 or more pages of reading instead of minutes, because that's kind of the thing that I'm tracking more so than the minutes I'm reading. So if I do that every day, I get an extra 25 points. And then if my step goal is met for 7 days straight, I get an extra 25 points. So those are kind of some of the streaks. And then the bonuses are all down here. So if I get 5+ workouts in a week, I give myself 25 points. If I get 10,000 steps for 10 days in a month, I get an extra 50 points. I'm actually really close to this month. So that's like something I'm really pushing toward for the end of this month. If I read 25+ pages for 15+ days in a month, upload 4+ YouTube videos in a month, I get an extra 100 points. If I finish a book in 2 weeks or less, and then these are the streaks that I just talked about a second ago. So I'm kind of keeping track of all of those. I'm keeping track of points so that I can reward myself. So this is kind of the baseline that I'm trying to hit every month. This is, if I go above and beyond, this is really hard. So these are like monthly tiers. And then I'm also giving myself a big bonus if I hit 10,000 points over the course of the 6 months. So I'm not just like tracking things. I'm kind of trying to gamify it to motivate myself. And it's been a lot of fun to kind of see like where I'm at in the gamification. So this is like the overall page for my action era, but I want to show you a big way in which I've integrated this into my existing system so it doesn't feel like yet another thing to track.
So we talked about my Notion morning routine not too long ago, and I am also going to share my Notion evening routine in the future. I know a lot of you have been asking for that, but one big thing that I did is I actually integrated my tracking of the action era in with my goals. So when I check in on my goals, there's certain buttons that are actually set up to fire and have me track something for my challenge, my reinvention challenge as well. So like, for example, when I log reading, when I click that button, it pops up and I can add in the pages I've read that day. So, and then it'll do reading points and then it'll show me my total points. So like I already logged my reading today. When I log stretching, same thing, it pops up so that I can track how many minutes I stretched for. These two don't do anything. When I log walking, it will pop up with how many steps I've logged. And if I log a workout, it does the same thing. We actually need to go in and take that habit out of there because I haven't done that yet. But same thing with a workout. When I log a workout, it will not only track in my habit tracker that I've worked out, but it will also pop this up so I can designate what type of workout I did. And it'll add that to my movement points. So that is something that's been really, really helpful, is the fact that I'm kind of integrating. That didn't work. There we go. I'm integrating the logging of these habits I'm integrating the logging of the action era in with the logging of my habits. And I also have like buttons in my daily check-in to remind me to log yesterday's action era progress. So that's made it super, super easy, but that isn't all where it ends. I also have it built into my checkout page, which I'll walk you guys through a little bit later when I go over my Notion evening routine. But it's the same kind of idea here as well, that I have reminders to log the progress, and it's linked to my habit tracking buttons. But I've also been doing as well, because I actually just did this morning, I integrated it into my weekly and monthly reviews. So you guys have seen I do a weekly review, I do a monthly review, I do a lot of reviewing of myself. And one of the big things that I've been doing is I built the action era into my tracker. So you can see down here when I get down to my reflection, I have the action era in here. So I can see where I'm at, my points progress. I can see some of those graphs, and then I just check in with myself about how I'm feeling about the action era and how it's going. I'm even tracking my weight in here as well. But that's been a really, really helpful and really, really instrumental. So like one of the things that I'm reviewed this week is that I need to figure out my workouts, and I've got kind of made a game plan for how I'm going to shift that moving forward. But like every time I do my weekly review, I've added this whole section in so that I can review and check in on my action era and how it's going, and how I'm feeling about it, and make any modifications that I needed. That was actually something very early on that led me to modify it and do the number of pages I'm reading instead of the amount of time I'm spending reading. So it's stuff that's just kind of come from me refining this challenge over time. I think we can have the best intentions when we start something, but maybe in the long run, it doesn't actually be the best way for us to approach it. And I think it's important for us to be willing to make changes and refine and iterate as we go through something like this. You know, as I said before, that's part of the reason why I really like this challenge, is it feels like I'm building lifestyle habits for myself. And that I'm having grace with myself and not expecting perfection out of myself, which is really important for my personality because I struggle otherwise. But I'm doing it in my weekly review, and I really, really tried to integrate it into my systems to make it super, super easy for me to not only stay on track with the challenge, but also to really make sure that it's integrated with, and it's not another thing that I have to do on top of the other tracking and reviewing that I'm doing.
So that is it. That is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching along with me. This was really meant to be so much more than just a reinvent yourself video. It was meant to be a place where I show you the blueprint, how I built out the plan for myself, how I kept myself on track, the systems behind the reinvention, which I really haven't seen a whole heck of a lot. So if you really liked this, if you want more Notion content like this, I'm going to be doing follow-up parts in this series as well. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And with that, my friends, I will see you in the next video. Bye.